Let's see, there's Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Phaeton, Jupiter. Wait, hold on. What Phaeton am I talking about? Well, let's see. It was the beginning of the 19th century, and the asteroid belt hadn't been discovered yet. In the year 1801, one man named Giuseppe Piazzi spotted the largest asteroid in the solar system, Ceres. At that time, people believed that there was a planet orbiting between Mars and Jupiter, and Ceres seemed to fit the bill. But the next year, another astronomer, Heinrich Olbers, found one more space body following a similar orbit. It was an asteroid which was later called Pallas. This discovery helped Olbers to figure out that these two space objects could be fragments of a planet. The discovery of two more asteroids, Vesta and Juno, seemed to confirm this theory. It was believed that the planet, which was named Phaeton in the 20th century, appeared in the early days of the solar system and was later destroyed, and its debris formed the asteroid belt. Olbers' idea was called the disruption theory. To astronomers at that time, it seemed obvious that the planet once collided with a large space object, which led to its demise. The most likely candidate was Nemesis, a hypothetical red or brown dwarf orbiting our Sun. Another theory claimed that Phaeton could have gone through an internal cataclysm, which could have broken the planet into pieces. There was one more idea. Phaeton could have come too close to Jupiter and got torn apart by the gas giant's immense gravity. These days, though, astronomers don't believe in the disruption theory anymore. A new idea has replaced it. It's known as the accretion theory. It claims that the asteroid belt is all that is left of the protoplanetary disk. Supposedly, this disk had been originally orbiting the Sun, even before the planets formed. Unfortunately, because of Jupiter's gravitational forces, it never managed to coalesce into a planet. But what is this asteroid belt we keep talking about? This region is located between the orbits of Jupiter and Mars. Tons of asteroids and even minor planets are found there. Some of them can sometimes migrate or even get thrown out of the asteroid belt to the outer solar system. The four largest asteroids in that area are Ceres, Vesta, Pallas, and Hygeia. They make up half the mass of the entire belt. As for the rest of the mass, countless smaller bodies make up for it. In loads of sci-fi movies about space, the main character gets into an asteroid belt and has to try hard to get away from countless rocks threatening to smash their spacecraft. Well, it has nothing to do with the real thing. Even though there are thousands of asteroids in this region, they're so widely spaced that the chance of collision is next to nothing. Hey, but it's a movie, right? Anyway, when the asteroid belt was forming, some objects started to come together and form what we know as protoplanets. But the gravitational pull that was caused by the formation of Jupiter made such collisions too rough, and instead of forming large space bodies like planets, asteroids shuddered. Astronomers think that as a result of such collisions, more than 99.99% of the original mass of the asteroid belt was lost in the first 100 million years of the history of the solar system. Only the largest asteroids have enough gravity to get a spherical shape. Small ones are just often piles of rubble, loosely held together by gravity. And the tiniest objects in the asteroid belt resemble dust, so small they are. And all these objects, giant and tiny, orbit the Sun. There are several types of asteroids, depending on their composition and albedo, which is the proportion of light or radiation reflected by a surface. The main types are carbon asteroids, which have a very dark surface, silicon ones, you can also call them stone asteroids, and metal ones. The first two types account for around 75% and 17% of asteroids that we know about. For the first time, the asteroid belt was crossed by a spacecraft in 1972. It was the Pioneer 10 space probe. The spaceship managed to refute the theory that the belt was filled with dust that could easily damage all gadgets on board. It didn't happen. And since that time, 8 more probes have traveled through the asteroid belt. And now, I'm going to tell you some cool facts about the solar system itself. Try to count how many of these facts you've known before and write your answer down in the comments below. The solar system is a staggering 4.5 billion years old. Scientists came to this conclusion after studying meteorites, the oldest material they managed to find. But our solar system isn't the only one in the Milky Way galaxy. The galaxy we live in houses about 100 billion star systems. And if it's just our galaxy alone, what can we say about the whole universe? Now, our Sun is also insanely massive. Here's the proof. 99.86% of all the mass of the solar system is the mass of the Sun, in particular hydrogen and helium that it's made of. The remaining 0.14% is mostly the mass of the solar system's 8 planets. Oh, by the way, contrary to popular misconception, outer space isn't a perfect vacuum. It contains not only stars and planets, but also clouds of interstellar dust, space plasma, and cosmic rays. Those are atom fragments dashing from the outskirts of the solar system. Now, one phenomenon astronauts should worry about while exploring space is cold welding. If two pieces of the same kind of metal touch in space, they bond and get permanently stuck together, kind of like galaxy glue. It doesn't happen on Earth since water and air keep pieces separate. You can see solar eclipses even though the Moon is 400 times smaller than the Sun. It's also 400 times closer to Earth, so it's perfectly capable of obscuring the star. But in 600 million years, the Moon won't be able to block the Sun completely because of the satellite's changing orbit. Behind the orbit of Neptune, there is the mysterious Kuiper Belt, filled with massy icy objects. The most curious thing about this space formation, though, is that the scientists fail to explain the pattern of its movement. The only explanation they have is that Neptune might be hiding a ginormous planet. This hypothetical planet has already got the name Planet 9, and all we have to do is wait until its existence is confirmed, or not. The ocean on Jupiter is larger than any body of water on other planets of the solar system. But it's not the ocean you think about. The one on Jupiter isn't made of water. This mesmerizing thing consists of metallic hydrogen, and its depth is around 25,000 miles, which is actually almost the same as the circumference of Earth. Now, people got to know about beautiful Saturn's rings in the 1600s, but now we know that Saturn isn't the only ringed planet. All the giant gas planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Jupiter, have rings of their own, but they're thin and almost impossible to see. As for Mars, Venus, and Earth, they're made of rocky material and have no rings. At the same time, Saturn's moon Rhea might have a ring system consisting of 3 narrow bands. If astronomers manage to confirm it, it'll be the first time for people to discover rings around a moon. Oh, and Mars might get a set of rings of its own in the next 70 million years. The red planet's largest moon, called Phobos, is orbiting closer and closer to the planet. One day it's likely to get broken apart by the gravitational pull of the red planet and turn into a ring that can last for millions of years. And another cool fact about Mars. You've probably heard of methane gas, a byproduct of such natural processes as volcanic activity and cow emissions. Anyways, this gas is not only a part of the Martian atmosphere, but also the thing that confuses astronomers to no end. The thing is that the volume of methane on Mars keeps wavering, and scientists just can't figure out where it might be coming from. Can there be life on Mars? Can there be cows on Mars?
Have you heard about Planet 9? No, not Pluto. We're talking about something lurking on the outskirts of the solar system. A mysterious planet that exists in our solar system that we haven't yet discovered. We've been looking for it for years, but finally, it seems like scientists found a key to solve this mystery. Planet 9 is a hypothetical planet. Astronomers have been on the hunt for it for quite some time now. But it's so elusive that they've only been able to piece together a few details about its potential characteristics. One thing we do know is that Planet 9 has to be a massive world, possibly up to 10 times the mass of Earth. That's one big planet. It's also thought to be a distant wanderer, hanging out somewhere between Neptune and Pluto. Some scientists think that Planet 9 might actually be a mini Neptune, with a thick, gaseous atmosphere and a rocky core. Others speculate that it could be an icy world with a solid, frozen surface and a thick layer of hydrogen and helium gas. Of course, since we haven't actually found Planet 9 yet, we can't say for sure what it's like. We're not even sure that it even exists. Some say it's just a myth, like the Tooth Fairy or the Easter Bunny, but others are convinced that it's out there somewhere. And at the end of the day, we're not entirely sure if Planet 9 is even a planet. It might be a special kind of black hole or made entirely of dark matter. The search for Planet 9 began in the early 21st century when a group of astronomers realized that something wasn't quite right with the outer reaches of our solar system. They noticed that some distant objects, known as trans-Neptunian objects, were behaving in unexpected ways. Trans-Neptunian objects, or TNOs, are like the cosmic version of those items in the back of your fridge that you forgot about for years. They're small, icy bodies that hang out in the Kuiper Belt, beyond Neptune. So, scientists noticed that these guys started behaving weirdly. At first, they thought it might be a fluke. But as they dug deeper, they began to suspect that there was a ninth planet lurking out there. Why haven't we discovered it yet, you ask? Well, it may be because of Planet 9's weird orbit. All the other 8 planets orbit the Sun in roughly the same plane, which is like a flat disk. However, our hypothetical friend's orbit is different. It might be tilted and move in a different direction compared to the other planets. Its orbit might also be stretched out like an oval, rather than being nearly circular like usual. Because of this, Planet 9 might spend most of its time far from the Sun, like a true introvert. It only comes relatively close to the inner solar system every few thousand years. This would make it super faint and hard to spot. So the only way we may discover it is by studying the gravitational effects it has on our solar system. And this isn't the first time astronomers have gone looking for a new planet. Back in the 19th century, there was a similar hunt for a hypothetical Planet X. But this time, they were armed with much better technology and a much better sense of humor. They began calling their elusive quarry Planet 9, which was much catchier than Planet X. They even came up with a hashtag for the search, Pluto Lives. It was a reference to the fact that Pluto had been kicked from the planet gang and some astronomers were eager to find a new planet to take its place. But the search for Planet 9 has been no easy task. It's like trying to find a lost sock in the laundry basket the size of a football stadium. It's so far away and so faint that even the most powerful telescopes can't see it. Instead, astronomers have had to rely on indirect evidence, like the strange orbits of TNOs, to try to figure out where it might be. Some scientists have even supposed that it might be a wandering rogue planet, which would explain why it's so hard to find. But they haven't given up hope. Till this day, they're scouring the skies using all sorts of high-tech telescopes and fancy algorithms to try and spot this elusive planet. And fear not, dear curious human, because it looks like after so many years of research, we may have finally found the key to solve this mystery. Astronomer Man Ho Chan from Hong Kong has a theory. He believes that Planet 9 could have a bevy of moons. That's right, not only is it a giant planet hiding out in the depths of space, but it's also a bit of a hoarder. Moons are all the rage in the outer solar system. In fact, almost every planet here has at least one moon, except for Mercury and Venus. Earth has just one, which is kind of sad if you think about it. Even non-planetary bodies like Pluto have at least a couple of moons. A bit unfair, isn't it? Anyway, taking this into account, let's go moon picking with Planet 9. The region between the rock-filled Kuiper Belt and the rock-filled Oort cloud, where this planet is predicted to be, should be ripe for the picking. Chan made some calculations and determined that it would be stranger if the elusive planet didn't have any satellites. According to his calculations, an object the mass of Planet 9 should capture at least 20 TNOs as large as almost 90 miles across. It's like our mysterious planet is playing cosmic Pokemon with these guys. So, what if Planet 9 has moons? Would that make any difference? Kinda, yes. They could give us some indirect clues to finally locate this mysterious planet. Now, you might be thinking, how in the cosmos can we possibly spot these teeny tiny moons? It's not like they're going to wave a giant flag or blast some Beyoncé tunes to get our attention. Well, apparently the key lies in something called tidal heating. Tidal heating might sound like a new workout trend, but it's a real scientific phenomenon. It happens when two celestial bodies are close together. You see, tides aren't just about the rise and fall of the ocean, they're also the result of gravity pulling unevenly on a planet or moon. When a planet and a moon are close enough to each other, their gravity pulls on each other, creating a bit of a football shape. And as these celestial bodies move around each other, they shift shape and generate friction inside, which produces heat. Wow, who knew that Planet 9 could have a workout routine? Perhaps we should start calling it Gym Planet instead. Anyway, if Planet 9 has any moons, the gravitational pull from these moons would cause it to change shape constantly, generating heat in the process. And we might be able to detect this mysterious planet through the heat produced by those moons, even though it gives off no other signals. Now, before you get too excited, finding them won't be a walk in the park. They're incredibly small and would be very far away from us. But hey, nothing worth discovering ever came easy, right? Scientists are optimistic that with the right technology, they can spot this telltale sign. It will be easier for us to spot them with fancy instruments like modern telescopes. Talk about cool friends to have, right? Sure, the process of finding it may be difficult and time-consuming, but the potential payoff is huge. Finding this planet could explain a lot of the strange behavior observed in TNOs, the Kuiper Belt, and beyond. As we've already mentioned, they've been acting super weird lately, tilting and aligning in suspicious ways. If this planet doesn't actually exist, we have yet to explain what is the reason for this strange behavior. In any case, the search for Planet 9 is one of the most exciting and intriguing quests in modern astronomy. It's like a cosmic scavenger hunt, and everyone's invited to join in on the fun. So, grab your telescopes and let's go planet hunting. Who knows, maybe we'll find it sooner than we think.
Back in 2008, astronomers found a mysterious something orbiting a star called Fomalhaut. This star is very bright and sits about 25 light-years away from us. Trillions of miles, sure, but pretty close in space terms. It's in the constellation Southern Fish, the one that looks like a single fish floating in the southern night sky. It's a small and relatively dim constellation, but Fomalhaut is what makes it so special. In Arabic, this means mouth of the fish, and you might guess where that name comes from. It's the brightest star in the constellation. If you're in the southern hemisphere, you can easily spot Fomalhaut with the naked eye. For people in the northern hemisphere, it's visible in the fall, low on the southern horizon. But this constellation has a beautiful story. The myth says that this fish is the one that saved the deity Durceto, who had fallen into a lake. So it became the symbol of rescue and protection. The fish in Pisces is said to be the offspring of the southern fish, forming a kind of family. At the same time, Fomalhaut is sometimes called the lonely star, because it's one of the brightest stars in its part of the sky, but it doesn't have many bright neighbors. Hey, I can relate to that. Nah, just kidding. Fomalhaut is also a young star. It's only about 440 million years old. Now that sounds like a lot, but our Sun, in comparison, is 4.6 billion years old. And finally, it's surrounded by a giant ring of dust and gas. This is called a debris disk. It's like a dust cloud that serves as the birthplace of planets. It's like the Kuiper Belt in our own solar system, where Pluto lives, but on a much grander scale. But then, astronomers noticed something odd about this disk. It wasn't evenly shaped. This means that there's something that influences gravity nearby. A planet, perhaps? And when they took pictures of the disk, they found a faint glowing dot inside it. That was our mysterious gravity center, Fomalhaut b, or how they named it later, Dagon. They immediately thought it was a planet. In 2008, it was a huge deal because scientists captured an actual image of it using the Hubble Space Telescope. Now that's a super rare thing, especially for objects outside our solar system, not to mention such tiny things as planets. And the photos were fascinating. At first, everyone was excited about the new world. Scientists thought that Dagon was a massive planet, something maybe like Jupiter, a gas giant. They even guessed that it had an oval-shaped orbit, which means that it would take about 1,700 years to go around its star just once. That's one of the craziest orbits we've ever seen. But as they kept studying Dagon, they noticed that things don't add up. For starters, they couldn't find it in infrared light. Now, planets that big usually give off heat, and telescopes like Spitzer, which look for heat signals, found nothing. Weird, right? Also, the planet was moving too strangely. Its orbit didn't match what you'd expect if it were shaping the dust ring. So scientists started thinking, maybe it's not a planet at all. And as the doubts creeped in, the hype calmed down. In 2020, they noticed another strange thing about Dagon. It was getting dimmer and spreading out. And well, planets don't usually do that, but clouds of dust do. This led to a new idea. What if Dagon isn't a planet, but the result of a massive collision? Imagine two big chunks of ice or rock smashing into each other at incredible speeds. That's what they think happened here, a giant space crash that led to lots of debris. That's how it got officially removed from the list of exoplanets. But then, in 2023, the new James Webb Space Telescope, which is even more powerful than Hubble, decided to take a closer look at Dagon. And when scientists looked at the data, they jumped back into the previous debates. Wait, it might be the planet after all. All this scientific back and forth led to Dagon getting dubbed the zombie planet. But after a while, astronomers finally found the middle ground. Dagon really turned out to be a dust cloud that's slowly disappearing, but there could still be hidden planets in the system. There's another ring of dust closer to the star that might be shaped by an unseen planet. There are many mysterious weird planets out there. TRACE 2b orbits a star 750 light-years away from Earth, much farther out than our Dagon. It's in a region of the sky that's been heavily studied by planet hunters. It was first discovered in 2006 by the Transatlantic Exoplanet Survey, an observatory with a bunch of cool telescopes that are used to find planets. They use a witty method for it. They observe the stars, and when they see unexpected dips in brightness, that means that something must be passing in front of the star, making it a wee bit darker. This is called the transit method of the planet discovery. When TRACE 2b was spotted that way, scientists took a closer look and confirmed it. It had a certain gravity pull that caused its star to wobble. But that also means that the planet should be gigantic, probably a gas giant like Jupiter or Saturn. But, unlike Jupiter, TRACE 2b is much closer to its star. This makes it a special type of a planet called hot Jupiter. That's what we call gas giants that orbit so close to their stars that their atmospheres are scorched to extreme temperatures. Imagine if Jupiter was not only horrifyingly massive, but also almost burning. This planet is tidally locked to its star. This means that it always faces the sun with one side, just like we can only see one side of our moon. Its day side is blisteringly hot. but even the cooler night side has temperatures around 2,900 degrees Fahrenheit. But there was something very eerie about this new world. What really made it stand out was its albedo, a measure of how much light the planet reflects. Most planets, like Jupiter or even Earth, reflect a good amount of light thanks to clouds, ice, and other stuff. This is what allows us to see those planets after all. But TRACE 2b is almost completely black. For some reason, it reflects less than 1% of the light that hits it. It's darker than coal or fresh asphalt. So, why is that? After some thought, astronomers think it might be because of its atmosphere. Jupiter has bright reflective clouds of a gas called ammonia, but TRACE 2b probably doesn't have those. Since it's so close to its star, they'd burn up and get stripped away. So, its atmosphere might be made up of chemicals like sodium, potassium, or titanium oxide. All of this stuff absorbs a lot of light, and if you look directly at that planet, you'd see it almost as a black hole. What's even more horrifying is that if you were floating in it, since it doesn't have a solid surface, these elements could make the sky above look like an endless void, even if it's daytime. Though you'd probably still see its star, even it would be completely surrounded by blackness, like light at the end of a tunnel. In that case, shouldn't it be completely invisible? Well, it kind of is. But it also emits a faint red glow, likely due to its scorching high temperature. And even though scientists have studied TRACE 2b for years, some questions remain unanswered. Why is it the darkest planet we've ever found? Is it possible that there are some unknown chemicals in its atmosphere? What hides beneath the darkness? These Jupiter-like planets are often crazy, like WASP 76b, for example. This is another gas giant located about 640 light-years away, this time in the constellation Pisces. Just like TRACE 2b, this exoplanet is tidally locked. One side has a temperature of over 4,000 degrees Fahrenheit, while the other side remains in constant darkness. But what's crazy about it is that the extreme heat on the day side vaporizes metals like iron. The planet has insanely strong winds, and they blow this molten iron to the colder side. And you guessed it, the iron gets solid under colder temperatures, and we end up with a horrifying iron rain. All this stuff sounds like science fiction, but it's real, waiting to be explored. Psst, a giant is hiding in the sky. Kipu is the biggest thing we've ever found in the nearby universe. It's been messing with our understanding of the universe for years, and we've just discovered it. Kipu is dense, powerful, and dangerous to ignore. If we don't understand structures like this, we might be reading the universe completely wrong. So, what exactly is it? It's not a solid object like a planet or a star, and it's not a single thing. It's a superstructure, basically an entire region of the universe, a tangled mess of matter spanning a huge amount of space stitched together by gravity. Kipu is made up of an enormous web of galaxies, galaxy clusters or giant groups of galaxies, gas and dark matter. It's like a superhighway, with galaxy clusters being the cities, filaments being the roads, and dark matter being the invisible infrastructure holding it all together. This giant stretches across 1.3 billion light-years. That means if you traveled at the speed of light, it would still take you 1,003,000,000 years just to cross it. Kipu also holds 200 quadrillion solar masses, even though it only takes up 13% of the observable universe. The name Kipu comes from the Incan system of knotted cords used to record things, called quipus. It was like a writing system. In that system, each knot, color, and twist told a story, numbers, taxes, harvests, and so on. So, when astronomers saw this colossal structure in space, long, tangled, and branching like space cords, they named it after this language of knots. Plus, the shape of the space reminded scientists of those threads. There's a long central filament, and the smaller ones are branching off the sides. What's even more fascinating, Kipu isn't alone. When scientists mapped this part of the universe, they found 5 of these massive structures. They aren't just sitting there either. They formed over billions of years through gravity slowly pulling matter together. All told, all those giants hold nearly half of all the galaxy clusters in that region, 30% of all the galaxies, and a quarter of all the matter in the observable universe. The team that found Kipu used a clever trick. They searched for X-rays coming from galaxy clusters. These clusters aren't just full of galaxies, they're also filled with superhot gas. That gas is so hot it glows in X-ray light, which we can't see with our eyes, but special telescopes can. If there's a lot of that X-ray glow, it means there's a huge amount of matter, galaxies, gas, and dark matter all pulled together by gravity. That's where the densest, most crowded areas of the universe are. So, by following the X-ray glow, the scientists could draw a map showing where the biggest cosmic structures like Kipu were hiding. Why does any of this matter? Because these megastructures mess with everything. First of all, they warp the cosmic microwave background, the ancient light left over from the Big Bang. It's a faint glow of light that fills the entire universe. After the Big Bang happened and our world was created, it emitted its very first light and signals that still haven't completely weakened yet. The leftover radiation is still coming to us, even after 13.8 billion years. By studying this ancient light, scientists can learn what the early universe looked like, and Kipu ruins it for us. These megastructures hold so much gravity that they bend and distort this ancient light as it passes through them. That's called the integrated Sachs-Wolf effect. These warps add noise to the original signal, and now it's harder for us to get a proper, clearer understanding of what the baby universe looked like and how it expanded. They also mess with the Hubble constant. The universe is constantly expanding, and the Hubble constant tells us how fast it's growing. In other words, how quickly galaxies are moving apart from each other. But giant things in space, like Kipu, have so much gravity that they pull nearby galaxies toward them, messing up the way those galaxies move. This makes it harder for scientists to measure the universe's true speed of expansion. They can't tell if a galaxy is moving because of the universe growing or just because it's being pulled by something huge nearby. And finally, there's gravitational lensing. Light in space travels constantly, but it doesn't always follow a straight line. If the space gets distorted, like by gravity, then the light traveling through the space will get bent and distorted too. Gravitational lensing is when light from faraway galaxies gets bent because it passes by something supermassive, like Kipu here. That huge gravity pulls on the light, like how a heavy ball can bend a sheet. And since light delivers information to us, literally makes us see what things look like, this bending distorts how we see galaxies. The images of galaxies end up looking stretched, brighter, or we can even find an entire galaxy in the wrong place. It's like looking at our universe through a warped magnifying glass. If we're not careful, we could misread those distortions and get the wrong idea about what our world looks like. Luckily, we didn't just drop these mysterious superstructures out of nowhere. Astronomers suspected that something like that should be out there. They just didn't know for sure. Our best model for the universe is called Lambda CDM. It says, universe started with the Big Bang, is still expanding, and is mostly made of mysterious stuff, dark energy, and cold dark matter, the CDM part. We can't see or touch these things, but we know they exist, because if they didn't, our universe would literally break apart. This model matches what we do see, like galaxies forming, how stars move, and the overall shape of the universe. So even if some puzzle pieces by themselves are still a mystery, they match the actual picture. And this model actually predicted things like Kipu. When scientists ran simulations using that model, they saw similar structures forming, giant cosmic webs of galaxies tied together by gravity. Kipu matched those predictions in real life. This also means that Lambda CDM is matching real life once again, thank heavens. No huge surprises here. But now that we actually found it, it's the largest known structure in the observable universe. There was another giant before Kipu, the Sloan Great Wall. That one was discovered in 2003 and was believed to be one of the largest structures ever found. And it's still an absolute monster. The Sloan Great Wall stretches over 1 billion light-years across. It's called a wall, but it's not like a wall you'd find on Earth. It's also a vast cosmic web, made up of thousands of galaxies and gas connected by dark matter. What makes both Quipu and the Sloan Great Wall so surprising is that they literally seem too big to exist. According to the Lambda CDM model, structures that huge shouldn't be common, especially at the time they formed. How did these giants form so fast in a universe that's supposed to be growing, expanding, and smoothing over time? And if we keep finding more of them, that would be completely insane. It could mean there's something deeper going on in the way our world is built. It's all part of our crazy Copernican journey, a long series of discoveries where we just keep getting humbled by the universe. Every time we find something like this, we realize even more how we're not the center of everything. First, we learned the Earth wasn't the center of the solar system. Then we found that the solar system is just one speck in a galaxy. Now, even galaxy superclusters, which we believe to be the biggest, are being dwarfed by structures like Quipu and the Sloan Great Wall. But also, these structures won't last forever. Quipu is temporary. Over billions of years, gravity will tear it apart, breaking it into smaller pieces. Some parts will collapse into tighter clusters, others will drift apart. Right now, though, it's one of the most important structures in the known universe. It shapes how galaxies form. It bends light, making it super important for us to decipher. It literally messes with our understanding of the cosmos.
Most of those twinkling dots scattered across the night sky seem unreachable. But one of them is Betelgeuse, a star so enormous and nearby that you can see it with the naked eye. To find it, locate the first 3 big dots in the Orion's belt. A reddish star to the left is Betelgeuse. It's one of the brightest stars we can see from Earth. And it's just 640 light-years away. No big deal. Betelgeuse has a blue-white O-type star, which is one of the hottest types to exist. Betelgeuse was scorching hot, reaching temperatures of about 90,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Although that was back in the day, now it's an elderly star and it cooled down to just 5,800 degrees. You know, vacation weather. Blue-white stars are absolutely massive and burn incredibly bright because they have loads of hydrogen fuel. But they have a price to pay for this glory. They burn through their fuel super quickly. As they age, they transform into red giants. This is exactly what happened to Betelgeuse. It burned through its hydrogen and started burning helium instead. This caused its outer layers to puff up like a balloon, turning it into a red supergiant and making it one of the largest stars out there. Now it's stretching over 700 million miles in diameter. Now it's about 1,000 times bigger than our Sun. If Betelgeuse replaced it, it would swallow up Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, even Jupiter. And its atmosphere would almost reach Saturn. But something strange has been going on. Betelgeuse spinning way faster than it should for a star of its size. Huge stars like Betelgeuse are expected to rotate slowly, but it suddenly started spinning at a rate of about 3 miles per second. Thanks to powerful radio telescopes, Betelgeuse's orange-red surface can be seen in detail. That's how we learned that it often changes its brightness. Sometimes Betelgeuse shines super brightly and then gets very dim. This happens about every 400 days. And recently, a telescope called ALMA, which is made up of many antennas working together as one, showed that Betelgeuse's surface seems to be moving unevenly. It's like one side is coming towards us while the other is moving away. But all of it might be a trick of light. Betelgeuse isn't as smooth as our Sun. Instead, it's super chunky. Its surface is like a boiling cauldron. It's bubbling and churning incredibly fiercely. Imagine giant plumes of hot gas erupting from its core, reaching the surface and then vanishing back inside. And these bubbles are bigger not only than the Sun, but Earth's entire orbit around the Sun. These bubbles also rise and fall super quickly, even faster than a spacecraft. And maybe this tricks our telescopes into seeing it spin faster than it really does. Some astronomers also think that Betelgeuse could have swallowed up another star, and this gave it a spin boost. But these are all just theories. Things got even more complicated when Betelgeuse dimmed once again, this time in a pretty unexpected way. What's interesting, it was discovered using a weather satellite. A regular telescope had a hard time seeing Betelgeuse clearly because of Earth's atmosphere. So they used a satellite that normally watches Earth's weather, but can also take pictures of space. As we mentioned, it usually brightens and dims about every 400 days. But recently, it suddenly dimmed by 2.5 times more than ever before. This event got the name the Great Dimming. The first theory said that Betelgeuse cooled down and sneezed out a bunch of material, creating a massive dust cloud. This cloud blocked the view of the star, making it look much fainter than usual. They also noticed something strange happening to that dust. It started behaving differently, which might be a sign that something deep inside the star was causing trouble. Betelgeuse's brightening and dimming cycle now happens faster in just 200 days instead of 400. And to add to the mystery, in the spring of 2023, it started shining even brighter than it normally does at its peak. Why is this frightening? Because Betelgeuse might be preparing for its grand finale, and this wouldn't be very good for Earth. We might be on the verge of a supernova. When massive stars like Betelgeuse run out of fuel in their cores, they start burning different elements like carbon, oxygen, and silicon. Eventually, they end up with iron in their cores. At that moment, everything changes. Adding helium to iron doesn't produce energy like other reactions do. Instead, it sucks up energy. This causes the star's core to collapse, leading to what's called a core collapse supernova. A spectacular, breathtaking show. Supernovas are so bright that they can outshine entire galaxies. But a Betelgeuse supernova would be special. Because it's relatively close to us, it would be so bright that we could see it even during the day. When it happens, Betelgeuse will shine as brightly as a full moon, but all that light will be concentrated in one point. For about 2 months, it will be so bright that you could read a book just from the light of the supernova, even if you turned off all the city lights and had a clear sky. The idea of witnessing Betelgeuse explode as a supernova is truly thrilling. After all, the last time a star went supernova in our galaxy was way back in the time of Johannes Kepler, more than 4 centuries ago. That event, known as the SN 1604 or Kepler supernova, dazzled the sky for weeks. But don't get too excited yet. We're not sure when exactly it'll happen. One study says that the star might be in its carbon-burning phase. If we're near the end of that stage, then Betelgeuse might blow up very soon, during the next tens of years. But it's nearly impossible to determine because during that last phase, the star barely changes at all. Even though Betelgeuse is close enough for us to study its surface, we can't peek inside its core to see what's really happening with it. We might as well be at the beginning of the carbon-burning phase, and in that case, we might have to wait 1,000 more years before that cool supernova. Another study says that Betelgeuse might have less than 300 years of fuel left in its core. They say that Betelgeuse is known to expand and contract regularly, and its pulsation pattern hints that Betelgeuse is much larger than we previously thought. This would suggest that the star is further along in its life cycle and closer to going supernova. Other guesses come from observations of similar stars. For example, a star called VY-CMA in our galaxy is thought to be closer to going supernova than Betelgeuse, and it's been dimming steadily over the past century, unlike the relatively stable Betelgeuse. If Betelgeuse was about to go supernova, it would dim steadily and very quickly. Also, historical records suggest that about 2,000 years ago, people saw Betelgeuse as yellow, not red. If that's the case, then we might be in its early last days after all. In other words, we have no idea whether it will go supernova tomorrow or in 1,000 years. We just gotta wait and see. But let's say it goes supernova tomorrow. What happens to us then? The 1987 supernova in the Large Magellanic Cloud showed that the effects from the supernova might be so strong we can sense it even from very far distances. The Large Magellanic Cloud is almost 170,000 light-years away, and we still detected the radiation. It's kinda hard to say exactly what the danger zone is. A rough estimate could be around 100 light-years. Luckily, Betelgeuse won't pose any danger to humans. It's hundreds of light-years away, and its supernova won't influence us in any way. We'll be able to enjoy its supernova beauty without any harm.
Across millennia, scattered among clay tablets, sacred scrolls, and whispered myths, humanity has preserved haunting tales of a celestial anomaly, a rogue planet, a cosmic saboteur whose rare appearance heralds disaster and upheaval. The Sumerians called it Nibiru, the planet of crossing. Egyptians feared it as the destroyer. Biblical texts knew it as the Wormwood Star. Are these merely the colorful myths of ancient peoples, or are they fragmented memories of an all-too-real cosmic threat? Modern science, once quick to dismiss such legends, is now forced to reconsider. In 2016, astronomers Konstantin Batygin and Mike Brown from Caltech presented mathematical evidence suggesting the existence of a massive planet at the far edge of our solar system, Planet 9. Their calculations describe a world 5 to 10 times the mass of Earth, on a highly elongated orbit that takes between 10,000 and 20,000 years to complete a single revolution around the Sun. Here's where ancient myth and modern astrophysics begin to blur. Sumerian cuneiform tablets, dating as far back as the 4th millennium BCE, contain astonishingly accurate astronomical data. They describe a solar system of 12 celestial bodies, including a mysterious 12th planet, Nibiru. How did ancient people know about Neptune, discovered only in 1846, or Pluto in 1930? Were they simply guessing, or did they remember something we've forgotten? One of the most controversial voices in this debate is researcher Zecharia Sitchin. He spent decades interpreting ancient Mesopotamian texts and proposed a radical theory that Nibiru is a habitable world with a sweeping elliptical orbit, home to an advanced race known as the Anunnaki, beings who once visited Earth. Mainstream academia has rejected Sitchin's translations, but the uncanny parallels between his claims and recent astronomical findings are hard to ignore. Let's focus on what the data tells us. Something is warping the orbits of distant objects in the Kuiper Belt, a vast icy region beyond Neptune. These objects behave as if being shepherded by a massive, unseen force. The dwarf planet Sedna, for example, follows a wildly unusual orbit that can't be explained by known gravitational influences. And then there's the Kuiper Cliff, an abrupt drop-off in the number of objects beyond 50 astronomical units. What's causing it? Something or someone. These anomalies have left astronomers scratching their heads and have fueled growing speculation that a massive, unseen planet is hiding in the dark outskirts of our solar system. Ancient texts from multiple civilizations describe apocalyptic upheavals linked to a celestial intruder. The Egyptian Ipuwer Papyrus eerily recounts plagues and chaos. The river is blood, the earth turned upside down, days are shrouded in darkness. The Babylonian Epic of Era speaks of a time when the stars left their appointed paths. These aren't just poetic metaphors. They're historical shockwaves echoing from a forgotten trauma. So what happens if Nibiru, or Planet 9, makes its next approach? Even without a direct collision, the consequences could be catastrophic. Its gravity might tilt Earth's axis, triggering sudden climate shifts. It could awaken tectonic fault lines and stir dormant volcanoes. Disturbed asteroid belts might send deadly space rocks hurtling toward us. It could disrupt our magnetosphere, disabling electronics and satellites. But perhaps the most chilling aspect of this theory is the cycle. Sumerian texts suggest that Nibiru returns roughly every 3,600 years. If this is true, its last passage might have occurred around 1600 BCE, a time curiously aligned with the collapse of Bronze Age civilizations, a period marked by mass migrations, natural disasters, and inexplicable cultural decline. Was this coincidence or consequence? The clock might be ticking again. Today, the hunt for Planet 9 continues, using the world's most powerful telescopes and cutting-edge simulations. We stand on the edge of either confirming the greatest myth ever told, or revealing that ancient peoples tried, in the only language they had, to warn us. It may not bear the name Nibiru. It may not carry golden tablets or alien emissaries. But if it exists, its return will reshape everything we think we know about history, science, and our place in the cosmos. One thing is certain, our solar system is far from tamed. It harbors secrets in its coldest, darkest corners, riddles older than civilization itself. And perhaps, just perhaps, the old stories were never stories at all. Maybe they were prophecies. Maybe they were the echo of survivors. Maybe the star of change is already on its way.
Venus is often called Earth's sister planet. For one thing, these two are almost the same size. Plus, Venus and Earth are very similar in mass and composition. Venus orbits the Sun within its Goldilocks, aka habitable, zone 2, just like Earth. But the differences between our home planet and Venus are more substantial than any similarities. For example, the atmosphere of Venus is 90 times as thick as what we have here on Earth. The surface temperature is so high you could melt lead there. And the air is toxic. It consists of carbon dioxide and sulfuric acid. In other words, if humans decided to move to Venus, some serious terraforming, which is basically ecological engineering, would be needed first. And still, some scientists believe that Venus is an even better candidate for terraforming than Mars. And there are several suggestions on how to do it. One of the ideas involves the use of genetically engineered algae to fix carbon into organic compounds. Unfortunately, the more researchers study this method, the less plausible it becomes. The main problem is that the production of organic molecules from carbon dioxide needs hydrogen. But this element is extremely rare on Venus. This planet doesn't have a protective magnetosphere, and its upper atmosphere is exposed to direct erosion by the solar wind. That's why it has lost most of its original hydrogen to space. Also, any carbon that was bound up in organic molecules would be converted back into carbon dioxide in no time due to the ultra-hot surface environment. And Venus wouldn't even begin to cool down until after the removal of the largest part of carbon dioxide. The next idea was to bombard Venus's atmosphere with hydrogen. As a result, water and graphite would be produced. This water would fall down to the planet and cover almost 80% of its surface, forming vast oceans. To do it, we would need loads of hydrogen, so it would have to be harvested directly from one of our solar system's ice giants or their moons. This suggestion also involves iron aerosol getting added to the atmosphere of Venus. It could be derived from a number of sources, like the moon, asteroids, or Mercury. The resulting atmosphere would be around 3 bars, which is basically 3 times more surface pressure than on Earth. It would also mainly consist of nitrogen. With time, some of it would dissolve into new oceans, reducing atmospheric pressure even more. There's also an idea of solar shades. A series of small spacecraft or a single large lens might be used to divert sunlight from the planet's surface. This could probably reduce the insane temperatures on the planet. Venus absorbs twice as much sunlight as our planet. It's believed to have played a big role in the runaway greenhouse effect, which has made the planet what it is today. Such a shade could be based in space. This way, it would also serve to block the solar wind, thus reducing the amount of radiation the surface of Venus is exposed to. This radiation is a huge issue when it comes to the habitability of the planet. If this method indeed managed to cool Venus down, it would lead to atmospheric CO2, becoming liquid or frozen and getting deposited on the surface as dry ice. Solar reflectors could also be positioned in the atmosphere or on the surface of the planet. In this case, they could be large, reflective balloons, sheets of carbon nanotubes or graphene, or something totally different. One of the coolest suggestions is to build cities above Venus's clouds. This way, they could act as both solar shields and as processing stations. The first colonists would live there, acting as terraformers, gradually converting the atmosphere of the planet into something livable. Later, they would migrate to the surface.
Some of the most terrifying conspiracy theories might actually be true. But which of them? Let's figure out. You might have heard about the conspiracy surrounding Project Sunshine, for example. A few decades ago, the US government started a study to measure the effects of nuclear fallout on the human body. And according to some people, authorities were stealing bodies to do radioactive testing. However eerie it sounds, it's partially the truth, but in reality, parts of dead bodies went missing. And because for the research they needed young tissue, they were looking for recently deceased children, and then took samples without notification or permission from the more than 1,500 grieving families. The next conspiracy claims that, during Prohibition, authorities poisoned alcohol to stop people from drinking. Strangely, the truth is even more somber. Even before Prohibition, industrial alcohol contained toxic chemicals. However, between 1926 and 1933, the government ordered manufacturers to add even more lethal substances to prevent bootleggers from turning it into drinkable alcohol. Have you heard about the idea that President Woodrow Wilson's stroke left him unable to govern, so his wife secretly took over? It's actually true. In 1919, Wilson had a severe stroke, which left him debilitated. The government kept the situation under wraps, and Edith Wilson controlled access to the president and made key decisions on his behalf. Basically, she effectively led the country for over a year. This conspiracy is outright creepy. It claims that the CIA experimented with LSD and other substances on unwitting Americans as part of a secret mind control project. Sadly, this was not just a rumor. MKUltra was a real CIA program. It started in the 1950s with volunteers, but soon escalated to dosing people without their knowledge. Some even suffered long-term psychological damage. Another outrageous conspiracy. The Dalai Lama worked with the CIA. Are you ready to find out the truth? During the 1960s, the CIA secretly sent financial support to the Tibetan resistance against China. Declassified documents confirm that the Dalai Lama received an annual stipend of $180,000 as part of this initiative. Now, do you believe that the FBI spied on John Lennon? Well, Lennon's outspoken opposition to the Vietnam War and his influence on the counterculture movement made him a target. The Nixon administration viewed him as a political threat, so the FBI indeed closely monitored him. But what about you? Could the government use technology to track you? Unfortunately, in the digital age, privacy concerns are very real. In 2016 alone, US agencies submitted nearly 50,000 data requests to Facebook, 28,000 to Google, and 9,000 to Apple. mass surveillance is likely growing. Even webcams and smart devices could be used for monitoring. The next conspiracy goes like this. Tobacco companies were hiding the dangers of smoking for decades. Unfortunately, even in the 1950s, studies showed a clear link between smoking and lung cancer. However, tobacco companies worked to suppress this information, funding misleading research and marketing campaigns to downplay the risks. One of the most popular conspiracy theories claims that an extraterrestrial is buried in New Mexico. And guess what? The claim is partly true, but not in the way many think. In 1983, Atari's E.T. the Extraterrestrial video game flopped so badly that the company dumped thousands of unsold cartridges in a landfill in the New Mexico desert. This sparked urban legends about something more mysterious. The truth was only revealed when the site was excavated in 2014. And how about the Illuminati, a secret society controlling the world and having ties to the NSA? While many believe in the existence of a shadowy elite pulling the strings, the only proven connection between the Illuminati and the NSA is a digital coincidence. Typing Illuminati backward, Itanimuli, into a web browser redirects to the NSA's website. Most likely, this is the work of a prankster who purchased the domain. One of the most eerie conspiracies involves the Bohemian Grove, a secluded retreat in California, where influential figures from around the world gather annually. Today, powerful individuals meet there every July for what is officially described as a casual retreat. However, history suggests that significant discussions take place. The early ideas for the Manhattan Project, which led to the development of the American nuclear bomb, were conceived here. Security at Bohemian Grove is strict, and access is invitation only. Very few photographs of the gatherings exist since photography is prohibited. Women are traditionally not allowed to attend. There are reports of unusual ceremonies taking place around a massive owl statue at the site, but the true nature of these rituals remains unknown.